Tough times in New York City, and more people seem to be leaving the Big Apple.
New York City's not New York City anymore.
All our friends are moving out.
The cost of living in New York City has skyrocketed.
More than 300,000 people moved out of the 5 boroughs.
Nearly half of New York City wants to leave. Not visit somewhere else. Not take a vacation. Leave. Pack up, sell out, walk away from the greatest city on earth. 48%. That is not a fringe opinion. That is not a bad week. That is a structural collapse happening in slow motion right in front of our eyes. Episodes of this series, we have been documenting exactly why. And the question is simple. Is New York City fixable, or has it already broken? Let us start with the numbers because the numbers do not lie. A survey found that 48% of New York City residents are actively considering leaving. Not maybe someday. Not I sometimes think about it. Actively considering leaving. That is roughly 4 million people standing in the world's most iconic city looking at the exit sign. And the reasons they give are not complicated. Cost of living is number 1. Crime perception is number 2. Quality of life is number 3. These are not new problems. These are the same problems this city has been failing to solve for decades. But here's the question that nobody wants to answer. Who actually built this crisis? And who is now being handed the bill? Because when you look at the last 10 years of New York City governance, a pattern emerges. Bloomberg left behind a city that was expensive but functional. De Blasio inherited it and let it drift. Adams inherited the drift and turned it into a scandal. Every mayor added another layer to the problem, another reason for another family to say enough. The rent crisis we covered in Serie number 1 did not happen overnight, did not materialize from nothing. This exodus has been built, brick by brick, bad decision by bad decision, over years. And now, Zohran Mamdani is sitting in Gracie Mansion, 6 weeks into the job, inheriting every single one of those bricks. So who is leaving? That is where it gets interesting. It is not who you think. Yes, wealthy residents are leaving for Miami and Austin and Palm Beach. That story has been told 1,000 times. But the people really leaving, the people whose departure actually breaks a city, are the middle class.
Retirees are not just moving out of New York City, they are fleeing it.
Teachers, nurses, firefighters, the people who earn too much to qualify for affordable housing, but too little to afford market rate. They are the ones disappearing. A city sanitation worker earning $70,000 a year cannot afford a one-bedroom apartment in the borough where they work. A public school teacher with 15 years of experience is spending 60% of their salary on rent. These are not luxury problems. These are the people who make New York City run, and they are leaving. If you have been watching this series from the beginning, you know we have been tracking this collapse episode by episode. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you never miss what comes next, because Mamdani's response to this exodus will define the next 4 years of your city's history. The numbers get worse when you look at who is staying. The people who cannot leave. Renters locked into stabilized apartments they would lose forever if they moved. Immigrants without the financial cushion to relocate. Elderly residents whose entire support system is in their neighborhood.
Retired New Yorkers are packing up their bags, cashing out, and getting out before this new mayor's policies hit their wallets like a freight train.
New York City is slowly becoming a city of the very rich and the very trapped. Everyone in between is gone or going. And that is not a city. That is a waiting room. Now here is where Mamdani enters the story. Because everything he has proposed, the rent freeze, the lift housing task force, the tenant protection office, the rental rip-off hearings, all of it is specifically designed to stop this, to give the middle class a reason to stay, to make the math work for the teacher and the nurse and the sanitation worker. Is it enough? Is it too late? Can 13 executive orders so far reverse a decade of failure? That is the question nobody can answer yet. But here is what we do know. Mamdani is the first mayor in recent memory who has looked at the 48% and said, I see you. I know why you want to leave. And I am going to make this city worth staying in. Will he succeed? Rent above $4,000. Vacancy at 1.4%. 101,000 homeless. A $9 billion migrant crisis. A subway where 22% of riders feel unsafe at night. 70,000 students lost. A healthcare system approaching a cliff. These are not problems that one mayor solves in one term, but they are problems that one mayor can either start fixing or make permanently worse.
We're paying through February. That's how bad we wanted to get out of the city.
It appears they're not alone. According to StreetEasy, more than 67,000 rentals were on the market last month, with the median asking rent at $3,200, a nearly 9% drop from last July.
So, here is the question for this series. Is New York City a place people choose to leave, or a place that forces them out? Because the answer to that question determines whether Mamdani's revolution is the beginning of something historic, or the last chapter of something already lost. New York City has survived wars, recessions, pandemics, and corruption scandals that would have finished lesser cities. It has always come back. Always reinvented itself. Always found a reason to keep going. But this time feels different. The problems are not new. The failures are not new. What is new is the man sitting in Gracie Mansion with 13 executive orders in 7 days and a mandate that nobody in recent memory has carried into City Hall. Zohran Mamdani did not inherit a broken city. He inherited a breaking one. And there is a difference. A broken city accepts its fate. A breaking city still has time, still has a chance, still has people willing to fight for it. The question is not whether Mamdani has the vision. The question is whether New York City has the patience. So we ask you directly, do you believe this city can still be saved? Or has it already made up its mind? Comment below with your answer. And if you know a New Yorker thinking about leaving, share this video with them. Because the 48% deserve to know that someone is finally paying attention.
Look, if you're tired of watching politicians play games with your city, you're in the right place. We're covering every move, every fight, every lie they think we won't catch. Hit that subscribe button because New York deserves the truth, not the spin. And those videos on screen, they explain so much about what you just watched. Worth your time. See you on the next one.